What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sideline Specialists NBA Draft Review Series, NBA Draft Analysis Series, whichever way you want to take it. This time on the Draft Analysis Series, we're talking about Adem Bona out of UCLA. Now, for those who might be joining us for the first time in this episode, what we do here is we take one of the professional scouting reports, we talk about it, we talk some strengths, weaknesses, their stats, things like that, measurables, and then we look at their highlights for the very first time. We specifically do not watch the highlights beforehand so that we can react to them alongside you for some of the people who might not have seen much of it. And we try to see what we see on the scouting report. We try to see the strengths that they point out. We try to see the weaknesses. The weaknesses are a little bit harder to see on highlight reels because a lot of times they're all the good stuff, obviously. So we are going to talk about Adem Bona, who the Philadelphia 76ers took in the second round with the 41st overall pick. He is a center out of UCLA. And I will bring up the scouting report on the screen for those that want to read some of it. It comes from The Athletic. I butcher his name every time probably because I'm not really sure how he pronounces it, but Sam Vicini. Um, he was the one that put this together. At least all of the data and scouting reports and everything. But Adem Bona from Nigeria went to UCLA, played 2 seasons for them. You guys can see his freshman and sophomore season on the screen, but I'm going to talk about his sophomore season because that is the most recent. So he put up 12.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1.8 blocks, 1.1 steals, and 2.5 turnovers per game. He shot 58.8% from the field, didn't take any threes, and well, he might have taken some threes, but didn't make any. And 69.6% from the free throw line. So, one of the things that I thought was interesting about him, I'm not going to read everything word for word from the scouting report itself. I took notes of like things that either interested me or things that I wanted to highlight. And one of the things that were interesting to me was the fact that he began playing at 12. And I watched his interview with the Philadelphia 76ers, like official social media team. And he talked about how he was playing soccer first, actually. Um, and people asked him, like, do you play basketball? And he was like, no. And the person traveled back, talked to his mom and everything, and said, try to convince his mom for him to play basketball. And I think she said she just didn't have the money or whatever it may have been at the time. And then his brothers ended up actually paying for him to go to his first basketball camp or practice, and it just went from there. So I just thought that was interesting and definitely should be included. So then he moved to Turkey a year later at the age of 13, trained with Istanbul Basket after playing for another Turkish team. Then after playing for another Turkish team, then he moved to the United States in 2020 and was a McDonald's All-American in 2022. Excuse me. He won Pac 12 Defensive Player of the Year last season and was named Pac 12 first team. So a huge growth and still getting better. 20 years old right now. He's 6'8", 235. And his strengths here, literally everything points to defense. It's just defense, defense, defense. 7'4" wingspan, crazy. Fluid, he's mobile. His vertical presence and quickness is very demonstrative. It's on display all the time. And I'll scroll down here for the strength so some people can read those if they want. Um, his physicality and explosiveness, great. Also comes along with a great motor. And you can count on him to aggressively defend. And not only that, but aggressively hit the boards, which are two things that the Sixers obviously needed, especially when it comes to the New York Knicks series. I'm 100% positive everyone remembers that series, and that was two things that they absolutely needed in that time. And so bringing on someone as a backup that can give them that, although obviously there's going to be a battle for some minutes. We'll get there once we look at some of the highlights, though. Offensive boards, he is great on that end as well. 89.9 points per 100 possessions on the court is the opposing team. Sorry, let me clarify that. The opposing team, 89.9 points per 100. The moment he's off the court, the other team goes to 100 points. That was last season with UCLA. Opponents shot 47% at the rim while he was on the court, 51.7% when he was off. Teams took shots at the rim at a 44% clip while he was on, 47.3% when he was off. So not only is he doing a great job at defending the rim, he is completely dissuading, or I should say, really persuading the other team to shoot from the outside when he is on the floor and he is locking down the paint. He's a positive post defender with plenty of strength. And offensively, he does play the dunker spot pretty well. And he sort of gives some shades of like a Clint Capella type of player on the offensive end. Weaknesses. Now, we talked about defense. Defense was a huge strength of his. The weaknesses, a lot of them come on the offensive end. But one of them is that he might not be that switchable of a defender. We talked about his explosiveness, his athleticism, his length, but he doesn't seem to be as in tune with his footwork and as quick as he would need to be to cover NBA guards or wings. So that is a bit of an iffy area on his defensive side. Now, the finer skills in catching, non-perfect passes in terms of like ones that might be a little bit lower than his hips, ones that might be above his head. That kind of stuff needs work. There was a lot of turnovers in those regards when he wasn't when he didn't get like a perfect pocket pass going to the hoop or anything like that. He really can't dribble. If you're relying on him to put it on the deck, just start running down the other court. That that was one of the weaknesses. His footwork away from the rim, just plain bad. Just not great. That's going to be something he's going to have to work on. If he could just get in the gym with Joel Embiid and learn the fluidity and the footwork that Joel Embiid possesses on offense, that could grow by leaps and bounds, but that's going to take a while. Not much of a passer, not a shooter, and doesn't have much touch around the rim. So he pretty much has like that Clint Capella build where he's going to play defense well, he's going to rebound well, and he's really just going to catch lobs and put up some offensive boards. That's like his whole thing. So, with that being said, let's get on over to his highlights here. We will bring up this is his season from UCLA this past year, and we will bring that up here for everybody. All right, so
which was honored today by St. Francis, although they really were honoring.
See, one of the things that Sam highlighted on The Athletic was that he has big defensive play ability too. Those big blocks that gets the crowd going. The thing when you see the ball just flying out of bounds or flying down the court or pinning it off the backboard, those are things that he excels at. And those are things, not only that, but just from experience being at a Sixers game, that's the type of thing that Philly crowds love. That's the type of thing, like if he saves a big play, whatever, that sets off the entire stadium. So those types of plays are huge for him. As you can see, dribbling wise, he's taking like one power dribble. He's getting around the defender. He's going up to dunk. He's not doing much in terms of like fine tuned skills or handling or much of that. There's not much of a post game. I mean, you saw a little pump fake there and then right up. But right there, the verticality, getting his hands up, getting the block, not getting called for a foul. Again, battling on the offensive boards, getting himself into space here. I mean, the shot form doesn't look terrible, but he just doesn't trust himself, it seems. And right there, you can see he gets a little shaky dribbling the ball in transition there. If he can get those type of layups where he's like right above the rim and he just kind of drops it in,
We've seen too much
that'll
of
be
this.
something that
I gotta
he
admit,
could
that's one of
excel
the
at.
better
But
lists
like
you've had so far.
he's gonna have to
What's
work
that?
on like those
That's gotta be
baby
one of the better
hooks and like
lists you've
little
had so far
floaters and
here.
little
Now, I
stuff
will
around the
say
rim
that,
because
as the kids like
he
to
just
say,
really
man,
hasn't done a
really
good job of those.
up and down.
Ooh, a little
Bona,
jab step,
a
little
nice
hop in
move
the
to
lane.
wrap a year
I mean, that's not
with the Golden Eagles.
decent right
What
there.
used to be called the
See, there's that dunker
Dominant
spot. That's what we
Indians
are
of
talking about. That's
2011.
something we can see right there. He gets in the dunker spot, gets into the other side of the paint while someone's driving, gets himself available. Love to see that. His recover, we're gonna call it recoverability. I don't even know if that's a word, but being able to recover like that to get back for a block, that's the explosiveness right there too. We talk about like the last two episodes with Jared McCain and Bub Carrington. We talked about their first step, their explosiveness is okay, but it's not much. Then you get to him, and the explosiveness is on a whole other level. His athleticism is ridiculous. The explosiveness is ridiculous. And this guy is just gonna fight, fight, fight for everything. And getting that out of the second rounder out of a backup big is great. The one thing that worries me about a lot of these plays, though, he goes for the ball. He goes up and really tries to get the ball on defense, and he keeps looking like he's getting close to like really injuring himself. And being that reckless probably isn't going to be great for him, especially against NBA talent. But we do get to see a little bit of, I mean, do I want to see him dribbling all the time? No, but like he's been able to at least get it on the deck a tiny bit in these highlights. Again, we for every highlight that we see him put it on the deck and get a bucket, there's probably like six of him turning the ball over. Not terrible. Not terrible.
Not to just draw fouls.
He seems to do a really good job of positioning himself in the paint, getting like around defenders and coming baseline and getting into the post and getting himself in position. So love to see that too. I mean, right there, playing help defense, gets back down and gets the rejection. Couple of pump fakes. Probably won't be as successful in the NBA, but not bad right there. Love the awareness of that. On the guy in the post, realizes that guy was open, steps out on him, forces a turnover on that. We love that. Gets it into the post and a couple dribbles. A little whoa. I don't know. That looked like that was not supposed to go in, but I mean it worked out. And again, like I don't hate the shot form. The shot form looks decent. Oh yeah, if you're gonna foul him at the dunker spot, like you got to make sure you foul him hard because it looks like he's going to. Ooh, that's a crazy block. See right there, that's the kind of stuff that the Sixers have missed for a long time too. The athleticism on the Sixers has been lacking big time. The only person really catching many lobs was like Kelly Oubre and Paul Reed. And if those are your two guys that are only catching lobs with nobody else really catching any, that's doesn't say much about about the athleticism of your team. And if you have him, now that is one thing that I was talking about earlier. He is going to battle for minutes. So the summer league, preseason, it's all going to be very important for him to see where he's going to fit in this lineup. Love seeing this defense though. This is what the Sixers need more of because they gathered some more offensive firepower with Paul George. Kelly Oubre has been solid on offense. Jared McCain's going to be a big time shooter, and now it comes down to defense and being able to actually stop other people. Ooh, okay, all right. I mean, the good thing is that he at least doesn't look hopeless on the post, as like the weaknesses and stuff kind of made it seem. Jeez, those blocks are just aggressive, man. All right, and we'll cut that off there. But obviously, you can see a lot of those highlights coming from the thing we've been harping on here: defense, explosiveness, athleticism. And like I said, he's going to be battling So, I mean, you already have Joel Embiid. We know he's getting the most minutes out of that front court. But you have Paul Reed, who's still around. You have Andre Drummond, who just signed back with the team. So there's going to be that sort of, are you going to use him as a power forward and kind of have him play the dunker spot with like somebody else like a Joel Embiid that can at least step out a little bit, play in the mid range a little bit and do that? Or are you going to try and like run him as some center minutes? Because like him alongside Drummond isn't going to work. That's just way too much down and low, uh, too much traffic in the paint. Him and Paul Reed is probably still a little bit too much traffic, even though Paul Reed has worked on his 3-point shot. He's worked on his mid range. He's still just not like stepping out there that often and that confidently. So there's still that question of like, can he really do that consistently? So now it's a matter of, is Bona's defensive potential and rebounding better than Paul Reed's? They're probably not going to play him that much over Drummond, especially bringing Drummond in specifically for rebounding. So that's the biggest question moving on with Adem Bona. But for a second round pick in the 40s, I think it's a solid get at second round. I just do have big question marks on the offensive side of the ball and his fit with some of the other front court players, and whether or not his defensive prowess is going to be able to carry him that much into getting more minutes. And I mean, honestly, worst comes to worst, he learns a little bit more this coming season. Then maybe, Drummond gets a little bit older. They don't really trust Drummond anymore. Maybe they trade away Paul Reed at some point, and then boom, he's getting more minutes. That could also be the case too. So, plenty of offseason to go. I'm excited to see him in the summer league. And that wraps it up here for episode 3 of the Sideline Specialist NBA Draft Analysis series. You can go back. There should be some pop-ups coming with the playlist there. We did Bub Carrington first. We did Jared McCain second. This is the third one now. And I believe our next one will be the first overall pick. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name right now because I haven't looked it up yet. But the guy from France, we're going to say that. So stick with us. Hit the like if you enjoy these series that we have coming. Check out our NFL draft review series, our NHL draft review series. We also have a podcast that comes out every week. So if you hit the bell, it lets you know when we go live. We usually go live once a week with our new podcast episodes talking about all sports with a little more emphasis on the NFL. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll check out some prospects in the next one. Appreciate you. Peace.